Now, the button is telling me to go live now, so that means I have gone live now. A little bit unusual for no one to be here. Oh, but we do have 2 thumbs up, so somebody is here. Okay, who it is, I'm not quite sure, but the only thing I could do is march forward. Which camera am I on? I am on the ZVE1, and it is probably my favorite camera. As a matter of fact, Shane from Geeky Nerdy Techie just put up a video on the ZVE1. I should put that in the description down below. That's what I should do. Okay, so I can't do it now because I'm sitting here and I would have to go over there. So Woody came to my rescue. You are live, Peter. Thank you, Woody. Sometimes I can't tell. You know, it's weird. I need like a tally light that tells me that I'm live or I'm not live. I guess I could go open the whatchamacallit in Chrome and check and see. This is the 70-180 Tamron lens. Okay, now I did not check, so we'll both find out together if my overhead camera is working. Look at that. All right, so this is the Tamron 70-180 f2.8. Okay, and they do have a G1, which is the model before this one. Can I get any closer here on this one? Let's see. I think I can. I think I can. Okay, yes, I can. All right. So you see the model here where the finger is? All right. So it's Tamron's highest end stuff is called the DI3. Vibration control VDX full frame. And then there was the G1. And now is the G2. So you could actually, if you've got birds, since I was just talking about Woody, you could use 180 millimeters. You could set the camera to a crop sensor, which would add another 99 is 18, 90 millimeters to that. So it would be almost at 300, 270. Okay, but it is an f2.8. And if we go around to this side, we can see that it has a lock, which means now it's unlocked. But if I lock it, I can't turn this, which means you can't get lens creep when you have this facing down. Let me turn it this way. Okay, and let me turn it that way so you can all see. All right, so it's locked. You get a little red indicator there. If you keep going all the way around, you will come to the other. It's got 3 areas of control for your stabilization, vibration reduction, or whatever they call it. And that would be up, middle, and number 3. So you can do all 3. And you want to know something? I'm a little embarrassed. I don't know what the difference is between 1, 2, and 3. All right, but it doesn't matter all that much because we'll just look it up after. We also get a function button that you could push here. And when you push the function button, you can control something that you would have to preset it to. So the front, it's got its cover, nice big piece of glass, and it's got a lens hood. That's without the lens hood. And this is with the lens hood. Now, I always have trouble putting lens hoods on, so don't be using me as, okay, I put it on, not too bad. All right, so that's what it looks like with the lens hood. And then if you go to the other end, you take off your lens cap, and then you can always feel at the very, very outer ring. If you feel a little bit of a rubbery thing there, which if I get it in here, that black piece, all right, that little bit of a rubbery thing, that means that it's sealed for water on the back side here. Okay. Now, when you turn and you do zoom, okay, so it's set for 70. Now, when you do zoom, it comes out, but not by a whole lot. This lens is actually quite small. I'm going to put it down for a second because I want to show you something. Okay, I'm going to put a cap here so it doesn't actually roll off and have an accident. All right, I'm going to get the 70-200 Nikon lens so you can compare it. Hold on one quick second, just walking away. I'm going to get the big lens. I'm walking. Okay, I got it. Oh boy, she's a big one. I don't know. Were you able to hear me? All right, so tonight we are running the air conditioning. Well, I'll tell you that when we get back. Okay, so let's take the zoom out of this. Okay, so we can see the table, and let's take the lens caps off. All right, so this is the two lenses. The one in my left hand is the 70-200, and it's a Nikon mount. This is a 70-180, and it is a Sony E-mount. Okay, now we're going to play a little trickery here in a second. All right, so let's come over here so I can get a big camera in here. All right, so this is the 70-200, and it even has a foot. This goes on the Nikon camera. This lens is quite a few years old. I've used it for weddings and so on and so forth. Okay, and this is the lens, and I actually have the lens hood open. So let's take the lens hood off. I'll put it back on backwards so that they're both the same. All right. And since, well, I was going to put the lens caps on. So now the lenses are set up the same, and you can see the difference in size. 70-180, 70-200. They're both full frame. Hello, they're both full frame, and they're both f2.8 across the board. In other words, they don't slide. They don't start at 2.8 and then move. It stays at a fixed 2.8. So this lens is an E-mount lens, meaning it goes on the camera that you're looking at now. It'll mount right onto that camera. And I will have a lens so I can go outside and shoot some birds. Now, the camera that I like to grab, okay, lately, even though Eleanor is my favorite gal, okay, still my favorite camera. Shane actually just did a video on Geeky, Nerdy, Techie. He just bought one, and he bought a white one. I wonder if I influenced him or not. That would be funny if I influenced him. I guess if he comes in tonight, he can tell me, okay? So let me turn that off so I can see what is going on. All right, so this lens is designed to mount on an E-mount camera. So this is not in the cameras that rotate in here. So you're looking at a Nikon Z6 Mark III, which is Nikon's newest camera, and it works really terrific. It's got the 50mm 1.8 lens on there. All right, and what we'll be going to after this will be on the other side of the room. So we've got a minute and 36 seconds, you can see, but let's just go over to that Canon now. All right, so this is the Canon R6 Mark II, which I think Simon has mentioned that we might be having an R6 Mark III coming up. All right, so now I just changed the camera, so I need to kind of like aim it a little bit better, but I'm here. You can see me, okay? Actually, if I move over here, I'll be more in the center. All right, and then after this camera will be Eleanor, which is one of my favorite cameras. Now, what am I looking for? I am looking for this guy. All right, so this is the Nikon Z6 Mark III. Now, how does that play into what I'm sharing with you tonight? Okay, all right. First of all, if you watch me, I will take the lens off. Now, I keep an 11mm lens on here because this is my run to grab the lens to be able to go and do vlogging and stuff like that. Small lens, f1.8, 11mm, and I have it on an A7C Mark II. And this is winding up being my most used camera outside of the Christmas room, while Eleanor is still my favorite camera. Okay, so that is not a conundrum, but it's weird. So, and I'll talk about that in a minute. All right, so if I take this lens and I mount it on a Sony, now pay attention because you might be getting bored because I'm blah, blah, blah about Sony. Now, this lens is small enough and light enough to go on like a mini camera body, where this lens would never go on this camera body. I mean, it just wouldn't do it. Okay, if I can get you to see the difference in sizes, it's amazing. Okay, so through the magic of Randy teaching me something, all of my Sony E-mount lenses will work on my Nikon Z6 Mark III, Nikon Z6 Mark II, Nikon anything that's got a mirrorless mount to it. Okay, so technically, we'll do that right now. I can take this lens off, and I'm going to take this lens off of the A7C Mark II. Stand it up. We don't want lenses rolling off the table. If you've ever had that happen, no. Nay, nay, nay. It's bad. All right. So now this stays automatically set up and hopefully charged. Let's turn it on, and then I can rat on myself. 100%. Yay! So if something happened in the kitchen, or somebody came to visit, or anything that I wanted to take pictures in a vlog form, or inside the house, I grabbed this 11mm on the A7C Mark II. Now, this camera has a very poor, in my opinion, okay, I have to say in my opinion, has a very poor image stabilization. The other end of the field is the camera that is shooting at me right now, and that has the best image stabilization. And the runner-up or equal to, depending on who you talk to and what time of the day and whether the sun is up or it's raining, it would match the Panasonic image stabilization. Okay? All right, so now what I want to share is, I don't know how many, since I know most of you guys, I don't know what systems you have. Okay, but on some of you people, I do know which systems you have, and you have more than one system. So I'm running the Sony. Now I can grab this lens, which is a 70-180. So it's not a high power. It's not one of those going to go 600mm. Okay, that's a different class. Okay, but I can also not only use it on Eleanor, the camera you're looking at now, which is the ZVE1. Okay, I can also use this on any Nikon mirrorless. And it works a treat, meaning it works well. All right, so let's do this. Since I'm going to lock this camera for a second, okay? Now, I'm going to take this camera, this lens, I'm sorry, and put it onto the Nikon Z6 Mark III. And this is a 2.8, so what I have on the Z6 Mark III right now is a 1.8. So does that tell you anything? Hello? Hello? Come on. It should tell you the light that goes into the camera is different. So I'm going to look and see what the ISO is at and then set it higher. All right, so I'm going to turn this mic. So when I walk over here, you can kind of hear what I'm doing, okay? All right, so what I'm doing now, and I'm talking louder so you can hear me, I'm turning the Nikon off. I'm taking the 50mm lens off. I'm going to reach over and set it on the table. I'm going to take this new Tamron that's designed for the Sony camera. Like, what the heck are you doing, Peter? Okay, and now I have that. Going to turn it on. I'm going to set it to 70mm. I don't want it any stronger. And what do you think? I'm going to set it 320. So what do you think I should go up to? I'm going to double it to 640. And we'll just see what happens. Okay? Now I'm coming back to the chair. All right, so this is the lens that I just took off, and we're on that camera now. All right, so this is the difference between 70 millimeter and 50 millimeters. So in order for you to see that halfway decent, let me turn the zoom off. I'll come up here and try and find, let's go to this camera. Okay. All right, so this is the Nikon Z6 Mark III with the Tamron 70 millimeter to 180 millimeter. That's this guy right here. Okay. I'll put it this way so you can see the numbers and stuff. All right, so that is what's on there, and we're at f2.8 because it doesn't go any wider, where the lens that I just took off is a 1.8. So this is what the picture looks like on the Tamron lens, brand new, just came in yesterday. Okay, just arrived here yesterday. Let me turn the mic back. It's aiming at me when I was talking to you over there. Okay, so this is the lens that I took off. Let's turn on the overhead camera real quick so you can see what that one is. Overhead camera, where are you? Please stand up. I'll go to the bottom, and here we go. All right, so now this is the lens I just took off, and if you look at the back, this rubber ring is actually in orange. So they're not hiding the fact that they have a weather-tight ring there, okay? That ring is in orange so that you could clearly see it if I can get this into the frame, all right? So the camera that's up on the roof or up on the ceiling is a Nikon Z6. So this lens and the lens that's on the camera that we'll be going back to will all fit on the Nikons. But what makes this like super crazy interesting, okay? So now what I want to do is come back to the cameras that are in here. So what happens and what's unique is like Shane at Geeky Nerdy Techie. He just bought a ZVE1, which is the camera that is broadcasting me right now. Okay, so that camera will take E-mount lenses. So all the lenses that I have for that camera, because of this adapter that Randy introduced me to, and it's on the Nikon camera, will also take all the Sony lenses that are E-mounts. I mean, it can't be another mount. All right, and then let's go over to the Nikon Z6 Mark III. Okay, so these are set up for a 50 millimeter lens, so it's going to look tighter to you. I actually have to go up here and make it so that you can, I need a stronger pair of glasses. Okay, so this is a Sony mount lens on the Nikon camera. So the lenses do double duty because of that Megadap adapter. Randy, I do see your name up there. Can you put the name of the adapter up there that is for the Nikon that will take all the Sony lenses, or I should say more clearly, all the Sony E-mount lenses. So if you have a Sony camera, or you sold your Sony cameras like Shane did at Geeky Nerdy Techie, he sold his Sony bodies. And all he had left was the Sony lenses, and he was entertaining the idea of using this Z6 Mark III, but he's got Sony lenses. Now with this Megadap adapter that eventually Randy will put the link up there for us, it actually, okay, I see it, it just popped up. So let me get my mouse over there so I can pop it up. All right. All right, so this adapter right here, the Megadapt ETZ21 Pro, is on the Nikon Z6 Mark III right now, and it is running a mount for Sony, or a lens for Sony on the E mount. So if you have a lens, do I have a lens handy? Well, I got this one. Okay, well, this is a Nikon mount. Now this one won't go to the Sony, it doesn't reverse. It only goes in one direction, okay? So all your Sony lenses will fit on your Sony cameras, and your Sony lenses will fit and work also on your Nikon mirrorless cameras. So they work. It works a treat. It really works well. As a matter of fact, when I want to get, I call them Randy's birds because they were little. They were just born when Randy came to visit here in the Christmas room, and Randy is the one that noticed them, and he ran across the street from the house when we were outside, and he took pictures. Now they have grown up, and when I want to run to get a picture, I have to take the Z6 Mark III camera off, which is what you're looking at now. It's the one that's broadcasting my face. Okay. I have to take that camera off. I have to take all the lens and the adapter off. I have to put the 70-200 because I can't get close to the birds. If I get close to the birds, guess what? They fly. They take off. Okay. So I'm going to have to talk to Woody and see how I can attract birds here in Miami, because I don't know if they make bird feeders that'll work in Miami or not, but taking pictures of birds is actually kind of fun. So I was thinking if I get a bird feeder out there, and I was looking around, you could put bird seeds in it. You could put a baffle so that the squirrels don't go up and grab the seeds. You can also put seeds in there that have a certain type of seed that they call them like hot pepper seeds or something. I found that on Amazon, and it's supposed to make the squirrels not like it. And it has good ratings. However, I have seen some people say, my squirrels ate it all up. So I'll have to have a little conversation with Woody and see what he's got to say, because I'd like to use the new lens, the one that you're watching right now. Okay. I'd like to use it to get some of these birds and get some nice shots. Now, with the Z6, I keep saying Z6, with the A7C Mark II, it's a 33 megapixel camera, which means it gives me a little more zooming power, because even if I zoom it in half or double of what the 180 is, and it becomes a 400 millimeter lens, okay, I'm still at 15 megapixels, plus probably 16 and a half to be accurate, okay? So this camera does everything well, and I think we talked about this last week. The things that I would change on this camera is it needs the microphone array that's on Eleanor, the Z6 Mark, the ZVE1. Why can't they just call them Model Y, Model T, Model A? Okay, anyway, and it's much better in the microphone field. So when I'm talking and I'm going like, hey guys, I'm walking in the kitchen, I'm walking in the fluorescent alley, I'm outside, I'm at the store, I'm at Publix, or wherever I might be, okay, then this makes things easy peasy, all right? So I do have quite a few lenses for Sony, and I can use them all on my Nikon at the same time, which makes it very, very nice. All right, so let's get the regular lens back on, because I want to set the cameras to be able to rotate. So this is the Mikey, and I'm not pronouncing it correctly on purpose because most people call it Mikey. It's M-E-I-C-E, or is it K-E? M-E-I-K-E. It's May-Key, but if I keep saying May-Key, you'll be wondering, what is this dude talking about? All right. So I'm thinking with all the variety of different cameras that we've got going on here, there's some people that are still shopping for cameras. Louis Lazuka is one that comes to mind right away. He's not ready to buy, but he likes to look a lot. And he likes to imagine and dream and drool over what camera he wants to buy. So if, and I'm not saying this is what's happening, but if he can't make a decision between a Nikon camera and a Sony camera, with the ability to interchange those lenses between the systems, it makes it easy for him to make purchases of the lenses. So he could wind up with an A7C Mark II and buy lenses, and it would all work very well. If he added a Nikon later on in life, those lenses that he buys will actually also work on the Nikon because of the adapter that Randy mentioned. Okay, so now what I need to do is I need to I'm going to have to turn the camera off because to put this lens back on, I don't like to change cameras. Where are we? Over here. And this is the R6. I need to move it a little bit because I'm over here and the camera is kind of aiming over there. So let's, what can I put on? I'm going to put the Sony on. And I'm going to lock her down so she doesn't change to another camera. Now I'm going to go and put the lens that belongs on the Nikon, and then come back to the chair. So I will turn this around. Okay, now in front of the mic, you can hear me. All right, so now I'm turning the Nikon Z6 III off. It is off, it is off, it is off. Okay, I'm going to gently put this lens over here. And for no accidents to happen, that's better. I'm going to use a rubber band. You can use a big rubber band to keep lenses from rolling, in case you didn't know that. And now I'm going to put this lens on. Snap it into place. Turn the camera back on. And remember that we are at 320 ISO. Okay, now you should see me walking here. I'll turn the microphone with me as I'm walking. Okay, so now, this is the lens I just took off. This is the Tamron 70-180mm f2.8, and you were just watching that. Okay? Now I'll put everything down gently. Now this is a rubber band. This rubber band, if you keep it around where you got lenses and you're going to put a lens down, put it down like that, and it'll stop the lens from rolling off and rolling to the floor. Okay? That's just an extra piece. All right, so now let's set the cameras free so they can revolve. Let me check and see what I did with the Canon. Oh, it's still over here. The Canon needs to move over to the right a little bit. Getting my exercise tonight, guys. All right, so now I've got the R6 aiming more towards the center, okay? So yeah, I took the S9 down because B&H wanted it back. Those of you that are curious, but I'm sure you guys could have figured that out on your own. All right, so we did our little lens juggling around here, and now we could start and see who's in the room and see if you guys have any questions. I'm sure I confused the hell out of all of you, all right? But I need the mouse. I need to move this lens over here to a safe spot. Where is there a safe spot? Safe spot is right there. We want no lenses falling. Okay, got my handy dandy rubber band. And now we could set the cameras so they can do their own thing. All right, here we go. All right, so there's your Canon R6 Mark III. Now, let's see who's in the room here with us. Did a lot of yapping there for a while, so I know I saw Woody. How you doing, Woody? I see you. How are you doing? We are live. Oh, that's right. You were the one that told me that we are live, and because I wasn't sure we were going live or we weren't going live. All right, so now Woody's up in Virginia, and Woody captures really great images of birds. So I'm jealous. Do I look jealous? I'm jealous of Woody. He captures the best pictures of birds, and he does a good job, and he's consistent. Does the same thing over and over and over and over. I'm sure we don't see the bad pictures, but he's able to place good pictures all the time. So, hi, Woody. Love you, buddy. And Jim is here. Good evening, Peter. Hello to all. All right, so Jim is Jim Out Loud. He's got his own show. Actually, he just put up a video, was it yesterday or day before yesterday? More information on keeping your computer secure. So you guys that are online a lot, you need, besides Jim being part of the family, and he's coming to visit me again, okay? But you need to be watching these videos because he's given some really decent hints as to how to keep the bad guys, the bad actors, from doing bad things to us, into our computers. And he's keeping it with a simple language so we can understand. So if I can understand it, then you can understand it too, okay? So on the last video he just put up, he was talking about the router. Now, I'll tell you something. I have never even checked inside my router to see what kind of firewall it has. So when Jim comes to visit, I'm going to put him to work, and he's going to look to check and see, do I have a security opening, a security problem in my router that I'm not aware of? My guess is these guys are setting it up so that I'm somewhat protected, but maybe it's not the way Jim would like it to be, okay? So when he comes, he is going to do something for me that he's not going to do for you because he's not coming to your house. He's coming to my house, okay? So he's going to check the router and see what the heck is going on. So Randy says, February is dentist month for me. Tooth extraction. Ow! Oh, I have spent, when Dad died, which was in 2015, I spent $14,000, and they changed all the way from here to here. And I would say 70% of all those crowns have fallen out. And I think I was able to capture all but one, and I must have swallowed that one, so it probably went down with the toilet. So when I go to the dentist, I have no idea what it's going to cost this time, but Randy is going to get a tooth extraction. I wonder if he's going to just leave it as an open hole, or is he going to put in a crown? And that'll be a good $2,000-$3,000. That's what it costs. But Randy, we'll keep you in our prayers because anything with surgery with the dentist is not easy. You know, it's something that you have to suffer through. So we all love you. I love you. So Jim is saying hi to Woody. Oh, I do need to tell you something. Last week, Ecamm upgraded their software and included a noise isolation in the system. So I have the air conditioner running. So the room is running full, meaning all the noise that the room would ever generate is being generated. Now, before I open my big fat mouth, let me see if the noise filter is on. Okay, so it's on. So tell me how this sounds to you. Normally, you can hear the air conditioner in the background because it gets too hot. And it's not too hot. I could actually have the air conditioner on or off tonight. But I decided to put it on because I have a curiosity to see how this noise isolation is working. And I have the noise isolation. Let me see where I have it set. I'm not going to show you the back room all over again. But I can see what number we have it set to. I'll tell you in a second. I'm opening Windows. It's set to 75%. Okay. So, and it's set to voice. Now I'm going to change it to high quality voice because I'm curious what that's about. And there's no documentation on this. So I just set it to high quality voice. Now I'll be quiet first. I was just actually quiet. It's set at 75%. Now I'll be quiet for a minute, and you're going to pay extra attention to see I have 3 fans running and an air conditioner, and they're all on. So now when I'm quiet, the green zeroes out. And that means that none of the air sounds should be coming through. Okay. So that would be the equivalent of crisp. Like Sly uses crisp, and she pays for that. And that basically is a noise reduction for room noise. And I'm not sure, but I think Lewis, Mr. Camera Junkie, also is using crisp. Well, this is now a part of Ecamm, and I have it set up to be working with Ecamm. And see, I need to be like smack in the middle. So I think I need to move the camera over a little bit more, but I'm not going to get up and move it right now. Okay. So this is the R6. The S9 is out. It's out of here. And speaking, we're talking about Mr. Camera Junkie. He's next up on the list. Hi, everybody. Hi, Lewis. And hello to Aiden. And yep, I think I got everything set up properly. So the sound should be as normal as can be. So Woody is saying hi to everybody. Love all you guys. Woody says he has the Tamron 70-200 G2 F mount. It is awesome. Tamron is coming out with some pretty nice lenses, huh, Woody? So for you to say it's excellent, that means you've gotten some good shots with it. Woody says the 1, 2, and 3 on my Tamron are for VR stabilization. Well, that much I do know. I don't know the difference between. I do not know the difference between 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so that is the only thing that I would have a question about. And as long as she's working, fine. Here's Simon. Simon is Ordinary Filmmaker. Love you, Simon. Have a good stream, Peter. Some nice lenses you have there. It's 16. No, it's not 16. It's minus 16 tomorrow. Suggest a lens I should go out and shoot with. Well, I know you do some hiking. So if you want to get wide shots, if you want to come home with wide shots, you need a lens that will allow you to capture that. Okay? But if you want to do sharpshooter and pick off some definite things while you're out there, because you're still in snow country, right? We're in, well, tomorrow is February 1st. We have completed the first month of 2025, January. And for me, in 2 hours, or an hour and a half now, we will actually be in the second month. Anybody else feel like when it comes to January, you're climbing a ladder all the way up the year until you get to Christmas? I don't know, maybe because I'm Christmas oriented. I think in terms of Christmas being the target. And the day after is such a letdown. You know? So now we're in January. It feels so, bland. But yes, all my Christmas decorations are still up. Well, let me check. Yeah, they're all still up. They're still there. They'll be there all year. That's one of the quirkinesses that I have. Okay, so if you have the room, Simon, to take 2 lenses, take a high-powered lens and a wider-ish lens. And on the wider-ish lens depends on if you plan on doing any vlogging or you just want to take some nice, pretty landscapes. Because with the snow and everything, I bet you got some really pretty pictures that are postcard perfect type pictures. So in order to cover the whole gambit, you need 2 lenses. You could, not only you, but anybody could buy one of these really super zooms, but the more glass you put inside, the more elements of glass, the lower the quality of the picture. And with the quality of the sensors that we have, you really want to put the best glass that you can on there. So, love you, Simon. I hope you have a good outing tomorrow. Take Liam with you. Tell him I said hi. Tell Susan I said hi. She just came back. Her mother passed away. That's Simon's wife. So we send our condolences and we send our love, of course. So, look who's here, Sammy. My big tough guy, Sammy. Hi, Sammy. Love you, buddy. How are you doing? Now, Sammy shoots the FX 30, so he actually could use the lens. Where is it? Oh, it's over there. It's a 70-180 telephoto lens. Oh, we're getting a little bit of inside information here. The Canon R6 Mark III might show up in the second quarter. So the second quarter is January, February, March. It's April, May, June. April, May, June. I have to use all my fingers to go through the months, and even then I'm short too. Okay, because in case you didn't know, there's 12 months in a year. You didn't know that, huh? So, hi Norm, how you doing, buddy? The newer lenses have coatings that work better with the high resolution sensors. Yeah, they do constantly. Norm is 100% correct. A lot of them tout or make a big show of their new coatings because the coatings actually changes the resolution power and changes the clarity, changes the color renditions, and of course the sensors are all matched with it. Okay, so when I put a lens on the camera, so if I put a Sony lens on a Sony camera and it's recognizing the lens, same thing if I put a Sigma or a Tamron lens on the camera. If the camera recognizes the lens, okay, they will have fine-tuned their sensor to work with that in a better way. Just my 2 cents on that. So Norm, I'm glad you mentioned that. And he's saying hello to everybody. Hi to Peter. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas in the Christmas room. We're over here on the Nikon. And all the Greggies around the world. And Simon is saying hi to Norm. And Jim is talking to Simon. How about the Sony A7 Mark V? So Simon, any news? Oh, he answered before I was able to read it. Too quiet on the Sony front. Well, they're not going out of business, so they're going to come out with something. And it makes sense that the A7 Mark V would be high on the list. I'm hoping for an A7C Mark III because I'd like to see the new microphone array that they have on the ZV-1 and the E10 Mark II to be put onto this camera. That would be one of the things I'd like to see. I'd like to see a full-size HDMI. This side is completely blank. And all the stuff that's on this side, this goes not only for Sony, but everybody. Why do I have to stick things in here that blocks my LCD screen with wires when there's nothing going on over here? Hello, testing. Is this microphone working? So I'd like to see that changed. I'd like to see dynamic active stabilization because that is a killer feature. That is a fantastic feature. And I'd like to see them, when they upgrade it to the Mark III, I'd like to see them put some kind of heat management so we get a little bit extra in the area of heat. And that we don't go with the, oh, well, you're not paying a lot of money for that camera, so it can overheat. No, you could do something to, talking to the manufacturers, you could do something to make it so the camera doesn't overheat. Really, all right? Just starting with this back flat panel here, that's flat enough so I can make pancakes on it, and it gets quite red hot, okay? They should build into that vertical pipes that are open at the top, open at the bottom, but sealed inside the camera so that you can do heat exchange. So when this back panel gets really hot, you could feel a little heat coming out the top because the cold air will be sucked in the bottom as the hot air rises and comes out the top. How much work would that be? Okay, and if you take a look at this, I shouldn't do this. Oh, I can. That's the purpose of this. Okay. You see how flat that is? That is flat enough and hot enough to make pancakes on. that should have a built-in ribbed back, and on that rib back, the rib should be hollow, and at the top of the ribs, there should be an opening so the heat can escape, and at the bottom of the ribs, it should be open so that the cool air can ventilate through. So it'll become like a natural heat exchange. No power required, and nothing open into the camera. Therefore, the camera can keep its water sealed. Okay, and if they get clogged, take a vacuum and suck out the tubes. That should be built into these. Not only this camera, but any camera that's got a little heat problem. It'll raise that safety net so that maybe the cameras will work when they're not working now. So there's not a lot of changes need to be made to this. Oh, and this needs to come out in white. Okay, the black and the silver is nice, but I like the white camera. And the reason I like the white camera is not obvious. It would normally be because a white camera doesn't get as hot as a black camera, especially out in the sun. But a white camera is also less intimidating. So when you raise up a camera and you want to shoot pictures, people go like, "It's gonna take a picture of me. Oh no, comb my hair, brush my teeth, come into this fake smile." Okay, but a white camera seems to not trigger that emotion. But what I get the most when I take Eleanor with me, which is the next camera over, is, "Oh, how cute! That looks so nice," especially from girls. The guys will look at it, but they're not going to go, "Oh, how cute." It's not manly for a guy to talk like that, but he's thinking, not bad, not bad. And it's a chick magnet. It's attracting the girls. So maybe I should get a white camera. So people that poo-poo the white cameras, there's a method to their madness. There's a reason to be having these cameras. So anyway, back to you guys. Lewis is here. Love you, Lewis. Hi, Peter and Lewis and friends. Oh, I got my mic. Okay. I forgot on the first time when I changed the lens to put it back. So Randy was giving me a heads up. Move that stinking mic. Oh, and then I eventually did. So he said, ignore the previous message. And Lewis is saying, I love you. We need to have a phone conversation again. We haven't had one in a while. I know you're not mad at me. So we could talk on the phone. I like to know what's going on. But I don't know what your schedule is. I don't know what your work time is and stuff like that. So send me an email, because I think you can get the phone calls are free if I call you. So, and let me know when's a good window. Don't pick a time like 10 p.m. I'm likely to fall asleep, and then it's going to screw things up. So give me, 9 to 11 at night, my time, or whatever it is in your time. Peter, I think you were right about the ZV E10, the Mark II. Also, Sly told me that the Osmo 4 is for me also. It's a fun camera, and I agree with Sly. I'm definitely not going to go against Sly. I don't want to get corrected, okay? But you're a little bit too advanced for that. You need a little bit more power in your hands. So the E10 Mark II is going to be settling in to be a really good buy. And as time goes on, because the camera is still in the newish mode, they're afraid to crack the price, and because underneath the E10 Mark II is the E10 Mark I. I don't have one here, okay? And on that, they're cracking the price. But I would hold out for the E10 Mark II. Now, if they start lowering the price on the A7C Mark II, that would be a good camera for you too, because it's 33 megapixels. The imaging is fantastic, okay? And it works well. So the Eleanor that I have, which is not this one, this is the R6 Mark II, which is a Canon. And I like this camera also. Where it fails is it doesn't get the gyro information. So you will be stuck with their internal stabilization, which is warbling and warping on the sides, especially when you go wider. And that's all solved with the cameras that have the gyro in there. You have to take an extra step, but it's your choice. But if you go with Eleanor, the ZVE1, you get the best of every single world. You get fantabulous dynamic active image stabilization, and you get the gyro. The only thing that this adds is 33 megapixels and a viewfinder. And since you're not likely to be hopping around with cameras, start pricing the A7C Mark II. Because along with a free software called GyroFlow, you've got almost everything you need right there. But it is a little higher in price. But if you want the baby version of these cameras, it's the E10 Mark II. Okay? So, you know what's going to dictate it for you, Lewis, is the cash. It's the money. So if you have enough money to buy the E10 Mark II, that's your camera. Okay? If you can get into the higher price cameras, then you have a few more selections, and we could talk about it. But again, the Sony ZV-E1 or the A7C Mark II. And between the two, you know, when this camera came out, I poo-pooed it. It's like, no, what did they do? You know, they took a step backwards. The ZV-E1's got a lot better than this, you know. But now that I've got it and I go run and grab it, thank you, Randy, that you put it in my hands. If it wasn't for Randy, it wouldn't be near and dear to my heart. Okay? So Randy gets a lot of thank yous from me. What a wonderful guy he is. So Randy was answering my question from a while back, which is, what's the name of the adapter where I can put all my Sony lenses on my newest Nikon cameras? That's it, right there. Megadapt ETZ21 Pro. And it works well. I mean, you can get adapters that don't work so good, but it works well. It really works well. Lewis says, and someone recommended to me the 17 to 72.8 Tamron or the 18 to 50 Sigma. So this would pair nicely. Yeah, either one of those two. On those two lenses, you would basically buy price. Okay? But the 17 to 70 gives you a little bit more stretch. So if the price is like within 20 bucks of each other, and I haven't priced either one, so I'm talking out my hat, okay? I would go with the Tamron. But you got to make sure on the Tamron that it's the DI3, okay? Not the older ones. You want the newer DI3 and anything they might come up with newer, okay? Sammy says the ZV-E1 is very tempting. Well, yeah. You know, another thing that I really don't mention much about this, we're looking at it right now. It's broadcasting my face. This is the FX3 sensor. And it's also the A7S Mark III sensor. Not a variation of it. It is the sensor. Okay? At half the price. Would you call that a deal? Like Sly would say, winner, winner, chicken dinner? I would. That's why it's sitting right here, right now. I'd have to say that the one that just left is my favorite camera. Now, all the cameras that I'm running now, they're all my favorites. How can you have so many favorites? Well, they're all the top of their game right now. Now, in 2 years, they're all going to be a step down. But they're not going to change in the quality. You know, unless we go to 3D pictures or holograms. This picture is quite nice. Okay? Scotty's is running the R6, the Mark I. And that one gives excellent, excellent, excellent imaging too. Okay? So, we're living in a really good time right now. Really good time. A lot of nice things. I'm not getting morbid, okay? I'm kind of sad that I'm 71 because when all the really good things start to come out, and it's like I'll be gone, okay? And you guys will get to see what's going on. Now, on the positive side of things, I think heaven's going to be more advanced than what we got here on earth. And I don't think heaven is like pie in the sky floating in clouds. I think that the technology that drips down here is dripping slowly from heaven, from what God has got going on there. So my ZVE1 will probably be 100 megapixels, have no heating problem, have perfect image stabilization, will be even smaller, won't have any problems with the heating. The microphone array will be great. And will I want to make memories in heaven? Chances are I will. I can't guarantee that. I'm speculating now. You understand that, right? I'm just talking out my, whatever, my hat, my ears. So people have disconnected heaven and earth by way too much. Okay? Earth is a planet that God created. Heaven was the planet God created first. And the planet is actually called paradise. And heaven is the city that sits on paradise. Okay? And it even tells you in the Bible, the city is 1,500 miles wide, 1,500 miles long, and 1,500 miles tall. Now, I don't get this tall business. We never measure a city by how tall it is. Like New York is this size by that size, and Israel can fit inside of Connecticut, and so on and so forth. But nobody ever says how tall it is. So why the Bible goes through the trouble of telling how tall a city is, I have to speculate. I don't really know. Now, my speculation would be, has to do something with the fact that heaven is the only city that is mobile. It moves. And it says in the Bible that the city of heaven is going to move from where it is now on the planet of paradise, and it's going to come to earth, means it's taking a trip, okay, the whole city. And it's going to hover over the city of Jerusalem, which is here on earth right now. Okay, Jerusalem is the trigger point because God made it that way. He picked it. That's his city. And therefore, the devil don't like it. And it's going to cause problems. And they've never ceased to exist. The problems are ongoing. And as Christians, we're supposed to have a feeling of defense and a positive attitude towards the city of Jerusalem and the country of Israel. Now, that doesn't mean the country of Israel is perfect. They make mistakes. They can be louses too, but they hold a special place. Just like the Jews here in the United States. I can't for the life of me understand how the Jews are not crazy pro-Trump, because Trump is crazy pro-Israel. And yet all my Jewish friends are liberal. Harris, they want to vote for Harris. And Harris is not exactly the friend. Biden and what the guy had before, Obama, they're not that super friendly with Israel. So, it just kind of makes sense. Rah-rah football, which I'm not into. But I am interested to see what kind of ads are going to go in the Super Bowl. But I'm done with the NFL. NFL football is pure crap. They do so many things wrong on a political level when they should just play football. Football teams should play football. Who would have thought of something like that? Okay? But they don't, and therefore I don't like them. So anyway, but I do want to see who's going to spend millions of dollars to put commercials in the Super Bowl. Last year I was very disappointed. The commercials were really crapola. And it was like, who would spend that kind of money to put such dumb commercials? And the halftime show, it sucked. The NFL is going downhill. They should be replaced by some organization where they have their moral values in line with America, and you'll see football soar again. Now, when I say all this about football, I'm not talking about the players. We got some nice players. Some of them are even Christian. You'll see somebody get hurt. You'll see people from both teams get together and pray for that person that got hurt. Okay, so we do have a Christian vein running through the football. But the NFL, that special finger that God created, that's what they get from me. That's my gift to them, is that finger. So am I telling you how I feel about things? Maybe one day I should tell you how I feel. Okay. So Lewis says the 1770 and 70-180 would be a great combo. You're right. Okay. And the 17 to 70 should get wide enough. And if it's not, and you have, I don't know, I get confused with you, Lewis, on whether you're going Canon or if you're going Sony. But the 11 millimeter or the Sigma 10 to 18 is a crucial lens for me. Now, whether you find it crucial or not, you'll have to find out. Okay, so you know, a lot of these things are flavors. When we go to the ice cream store, you have to pick which ice cream flavor you like. I'll try the one that you like, just in case, it might be something I really like. All right, I didn't try the cookies and cream or the Oreo for a long time, but when I did, man, that is good. I like the flavor of Oreo cookies in my ice cream because I happen to love Oreo cookies. Oh, I haven't checked my meters. Okay, meters are still running. I could have been talking all this time and I haven't checked it, in 20 minutes? And, the sound could have been off. All right, let's wrap up this show because we're up at the 1 hour mark. And Carlos is here. Hey, everybody. Hope all is well. Hi, Carlos. I hope you are well. He's in the Los Angeles fires. And Trump came out there. And I thought it was the cutest thing. It made me think of you, honestly, Carlos. Because the mayor of Los Angeles said, we're trying to fight the wires. And we're getting our resources and the most resources we need. And Trump is sitting there listening to her babble. And he was like this. You need water. Who would have thought? You need water to fight the fires. So you guys that are not aware, okay, Los Angeles has a water shortage problem because they sent the water to save these little fish, which are supposed to be going extinct, but only in California. They got those fish elsewhere. So the water left. So Carlos on the phone to me said, the fire hydrants don't have water in them. So they come to your neighborhood and the fire is coming down the block. Of course, the fire hydrants is where you're going to go to get the water. He said, well, there's no water in the fire hydrants. And I'm thinking like, wow, I don't even know how to think about that, Well, that's because they sent the water for these fish. More important than the people and their houses and the properties is the fish. We have to make the fish survive. Well, Trump set them straight. He said, you need water. Wow, words of wisdom. And people are going like, oh, you can't worship him like a god. Well, the guy figured out we needed water for the fires. Who knew? I'm being a little bit sarcastic there. Okay. So anyway, that is Bokeh Bashudo. I've been watching a lot of soccer. Every time somebody does a goal, they scream like that. Love you, Carlos. Sammy, you deserve it. Do it. And Sammy is talking to Lewis. I have the FX30, one of the best cameras on the market. Yeah, we'd like to see an FX30 Mark II, right, Sammy? I think that would be cool. Bokeh Bashudo, Carlos. Always amazed at your white balance, Peter. Perfect. Oh, that's what I wanted to talk to Jim Monday. Now he's falling asleep and going, wait. He said my name. Yellow wall, yellow bulbs, yellow face. We need to work on some separation of the yellow filter. Okay, I'm being harsh, okay? But that is something, every time I look at it, I'm going like, why is everything blanketed in yellow? You guys have to go and look. Go to his channel, which is Jim Out Loud, and look at he spent a lot of time setting up a really cool studio, okay? But what needs to happen, probably the cheapest thing to do would be change the light bulbs in the soft boxes so that the entire white balance changes and the skin will look pretty, but the yellow will take another tint. That's one possibility, okay? But Jim is smarter than me, so he'll figure it out. All he needed to hear was somebody say, yellow face, yellow wall, yellow bulbs, it's too bland. Your color balance is good. That's what made me think of it, because Carlos just said that the color balance is good. Okay, well, your color balance, Jim, is good. It's just that everything is yellow. And that is part, for all of you guys, of what is important when you set up a set. Now look at my face compared to the colors that I have emulating from everywhere, including the tablecloth. Okay, my shirt, I changed it from green this week. I felt like green. I've got a pretty red shirt. I've got a pretty blue shirt. I've got a pretty green shirt. I got one of my favorites, which is yellow. Okay, but all of those, except for the red, stand out with the background. Now, in the background, I'm careful to have put a green tree over here with the red poinsettia over there, okay? And then the background is darker. I'm not correcting you, Jim. I'm just talking about my background at this point, okay? And there's enough of a lot of different colors going on. And I'm not saying you have to, mimic me. I'm just saying if you wanted the yellow look, you did a great job. Okay, but in all the conversations that we've had, I don't think that's what you were targeting. I don't think you were targeting a very heavy yellow look. Now, Carlos, who is Bokeh Bashuda, okay, he's amazed at my white balance. Now, if you go to his videos on Bokeh Bashuda, and he has done a great, actually, every single person I can think of right now, Sly, Randy, Carlos, Jim, who else does broadcasting? Lewis, Mr. Camera Junkie, Lazuka. You all have a higher level of quality compared to a lot of the SHIT that I see out there. So congratulations, whoever you're learning this stuff from, you're all doing a great job, okay? So, everybody's quality levels, I have to say, we all rose together. That's why we're a family. We're not here to bash each other, knock each other down, or anything to that. As a matter of fact, now that I think of it, everybody's sound or audio is also excellent. And Sly has gone through a lot of microphones for us. Tom Buck, he doesn't come in anymore. I'm guessing he got bored with me, but that's okay. Everybody gets bored with me eventually, but I still love him, and he'll still answer the phone if I call him. Okay, but I have nothing to teach him now. He's teaching me, but he has done a lot with the audio also. So if you're going to do some research on audio, go and hunt down some of Sly's videos and hunt down some of Tom Buck's videos, because he has actually run through a lot of different microphones. So let's get here. Lewis is asking, Sammy, do you recommend the FX30 over the ZV-E10? Well, let's see if Sammy answers that, but I can answer that too. Okay. The FX30, the only reason that you would go with the FX30 is if you find yourself having heat problems. Because that's all that'll be a difference for you. Now, if you were more into filmmaking like Sammy is, he's going to filmmaking school, and he makes films completely independently at the same time. So he needs to be able to run anamorphic lenses and other things that are just not the common knowledge for us ordinary filmmakers, as Simon would say. Okay? So the E10 is great. If you find an FX30 at a great price, oh, go for it, baby, go for it. Okay, I would have an FX30 because of the fan. Overheating shuts you down, and it's an annoyance. It's at an upper level annoyance. It's like getting a bee sting. It's annoyance, but it's not a low level. It's an important level. Okay? So that's what happens when your camera shuts down. So there we go. So Lewis says, Peter, you think I should buy both Nikon and Sony? You know me. No, I don't see a reason for Nikon to be in your gear bag. Oh, there would be one reason, and that would be is you really like the camera. If any camera that you really like, Lewis, that no matter what I say, that's where you should go. So what am I thinking of? Well, right now, I think you like Canons, and I am not recommending a Canon for you. But if you like Canon that strongly, you should bypass what I'm saying and go for the camera that you like. You're supposed to interact with these guys. They're supposed to feel like, oh, I like this, like a little dog. People love their dogs, okay? People love their cameras. Now, I'm blessed that I have a variety of cameras, yes, okay? But if I had to only have one camera and I had to do my Christmas room in here, I had to do the Patreon, I had to do vlogs, I had to do pictures, okay? The camera I would have chosen would have been Canon. Eventually, that succumbed to it becoming Nikon, which I consider is superior to the Canons, okay? And then just a few little things have moved me into Sony, which Sony has never been my favorite camera company, okay? They're a son of a bee company. They don't do their own repair work. They do very poor on upgrades, but when they come out with a camera, it works most of the time, okay? And people are very happy with it, and the quality is fantastic. So if I had to run my entire show and my entire life on one single camera, how about if I tantalize you for a second? It'd be a choice of the E10 Mark II and the A7C Mark II. Not even Eleanor, which is my favorite camera. So why did I drop Eleanor out of the bunch? Because of the 12 megapixel sensor. I do photographs too. And I get a kick out of blowing them up large, or I like to have spectacular looking work, you know. So I think a 33 megapixel camera is where I'm going to go, which is why I wish they would update this camera to include all the neat stuff that's in the E10 Mark II and into this gal, the ZV-E1. I wish those things would come into this camera. And then I'd like them to do additional things, like put a full-size HDMI plug instead of this little thing. And there's room in there for them to do it. They're just jerking things around, okay? They need to put the full-size HDMI, and I think better heat management, whatever way they want to do it. I just gave them an idea of a heat exchange built into this big solid flat area that we got going here. Okay, it does nothing for anybody. Doesn't even look pretty. Okay, so if they put a heat exchange on the built-in, no fans, nothing like that. Okay, then this camera would be the camera that I like the most. So what about the stabilization? If they upped it and put the stabilization from Eleanor in here, thank you, Jesus. That would be fantastic. But if they don't, I still have the gyro data, so I can fix it if I want to. And yeah, I do want to. Okay? So that is what we've got going. Those would be the two cameras. Now, if I had to pick between the two, it would be harder because the E10 Mark II has got all the newer technologies that I'm using. This is full frame and has the EV on the back, and it's 33 megapixels. I probably would suffer with what I would be missing and go with this camera as my one and only single camera. However, I don't run my Christmas room with one camera, and I can't go and buy $2,200 cameras. So the under $1,000 camera on the Sony E10 Mark II, oh, it becomes more interesting now. Okay? So you see how it can be hard? You can put yourself in the corner as to what camera you will wind up buying. Philip is here. Hi, everybody. Hi, Philip. Love you. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for saying hi. And I forgot what I was going to say. Well, Yasu kitapediasu. You say something in Greek. Okay. And blessings to you and your family. Randy said he's having his rear molar and wisdom tooth taken out. Hole in one. Silence is golden, golden. Yes, 75% noise isolation. I was thinking of dropping it to 70%, but I'm going to listen to what we sound like tonight. And it's the beginning of the sentences and the end of the sentences that I don't want that sound. The more voice isolation you put, the more it clamps and turns the sounds all into just like an S that's being shed, you know. Woody says, I hear fans with the HHQ voice. Oh, you do? Well, let me switch that back right now. Now that I said it, let me switch it back because maybe it works better without the high quality voice. And if it does, guess where it's going to stay, okay? I just put it to regular voice. Done. Now be quiet for 10 seconds. Okay, so this is just voice and not high quality voice. If it does a better job, she'd be staying there, okay? Ah, Woody's not the only one. Jim said it's doing that too. Okay. And Sammy's saying yes. And Simon is just sitting there smiling at me. In the blues, Shane. I was talking about you on the Geeky Nerdy Techie. I was telling them that they need to go watch your ZVE1 video you just put up today. Great video. And I even said, I wonder if I had any influence on you to buy that camera or not. I'm not looking for a bone. I'm not looking for an award. I'm just curious how you wound up with that camera. That is still my favorite camera, okay? It still is my favorite camera. So hi, Shane. Hi, Australia. Carlos, to be honest, I'm falling in love with my ZV-E10 all over again. It's still awesome, and yes, it is. It just does a good picture. If it wasn't for the high quality that it does, it's a nice camera. But add to that, wow, what nice imaging. Yes. So Sammy says we all want the FX30 Mark II. I agree. Sammy says he's looking at a new cinema lens, a Cine lens, A7 Mark II. Would you buy? I own it. Here it is. Surprise! That would probably be the camera I arrive at. And the only reason I would feel sad if it was my only camera would be if it gave me overheating problems. Has not. I'm not trying to create a problem that doesn't exist. But I'm in a lot of different situations. So there we have it. All right, guys. We are over the 11 o'clock hour, which means we have done our hour show. Peter Gregg definitely influenced me on that one. I will give you a shout out on the review when I put it together. Oh, no, I don't need that. I didn't mean it like that, honestly. I promise. I just was looking at it, and I'm looking at my camera on your screen, and I'm going like, dang, he put my camera up on his screen because Shane already put up a video. As a matter of fact, if I remember, I'll go put a link to it after I'm finished with the show. So, good for you guys. All right. I love you guys. God willing, and the bridge isn't up next week. We will be in the second month of the year. We're climbing that ladder back up to Christmas. If you're watching this on the rewind, do leave a comment. And if you're not subscribed, do subscribe. They're free. And I want you in the family. All right. Love you guys. Have a great week. Have a safe week. Things are looking good. There's a feeling in the air of excitement and stuff like that. Of course, we keep the people in the... Now we have 2 plane crashes. We had the one from yesterday or day before, and now we had another one today. We keep those families in our prayers. It's the end of life for some people. And sometimes families have a very hard time with that. Okay? So you guys that hung on till the end, let me know if changing it from high quality voice to regular voice actually improved the fan. I'll be quiet for another 5 seconds so you can actually do the test. Yeah, everything is still running. All right, so now you should be able to tell with that, and I will watch this over to see, you know, what it sounds like to me too. Peter, thank you for inspiring me to be happy. Yes, I want you to be happy, Louis. You know your grandma is up in age. Make sure she has Jesus in her heart, so this way you won't be crushed when she leaves here to go to heaven. You'll say, I'll just be seeing her again in a few years. That'll take the edge of the pain off, okay? You have put an awful lot of time into her. And so therefore I want you to be joyful knowing that she's lived her life here. Same with my dad, with my mom, even Jingle Bells. They've lived their life here. I'm waiting to go to them now, okay? So Randy says, sounds better in low quality. They don't call it low quality. That's why it's a little bit confusing, Randy. They call it high quality voice or just voice. So I'm thinking it might be 2 different strengths, but I can control the strength. So I just don't get it, okay? But I did do the comparison tonight, so we'll all know. We'll all know which one works better. They must have put one in over the other for a reason. But once we know which one works, we be sticking with that, baby. Okay? All right. So Jim says, yes, it sounds better. So I'm getting my confirmations. So that's going to stay that way. And Randy will be taking us out. Bye, everybody. Good night. Have a great week. And as I like to say, God willing, and if the bridge isn't up, I'll see you next Friday. I'll see you next Friday. You know, the R6 still looks good. I don't hate to say it, but I'm glad that it does. All right, Jim, we're going to say good night, and we're going to finish. Bye, y'all.